you encounter something that appears like a difficult problem, there are a few questions you need to ask yourself. The first one is, does solving this problem actually help me achieve some greater goal? If not, maybe it's not your problem to solve. Maybe you don't even need to spend time on this. And a lot of people just solve everything that appears on their path, but many of these are actually a complete waste of time, and solving them did not actually get you closer to where you wanted to go. A second thing that I think you need to ask yourself when you encounter a problem, and this is maybe going in the opposite direction, is this my problem? Like, is this a problem where if I solve it and others don't, then that really makes a difference. It really differentiates me from the crowd. Maybe I have the ability to solve problem. Nobody has solved this one. And so solving this problem is the mission. It's the one thing to focus on. And if it is, you should probably drop all the other problems and work on this one. You have found your problem. Congratulations. Right? And a lot of people at that point will start complaining, but it's so difficult, my day is so hard, but you shouldn't complain. You have found your problem, others haven't. So you're in an amazing situation. Now, most of the problems you encounter in your life are going to be somewhere between those two extremes. Things that are just appearing in your path, but you should ignore them, and things that maybe they weren't even in your path, but you should drop everything and rush towards them and say, that is my problem, I'll refocus everything on that one. Most things are somewhere in the middle. You will benefit from solving them. You don't have to drop everything else. You just need to solve them along with all the other things that are already in your path. And yes, it's a bit of an inconvenience. Life would be easier if you had slightly fewer problems than slightly more. But again, one of the nice mental tricks that I really recommend to people is to think of difficulty as something that just allows you to differentiate yourself. The more difficult the problem is, the higher the upside of solving it, because others didn't solve that difficult problem. If everything you encounter in your path is easy, then your path is easily repeated by everybody else. And so don't complain about difficult problems. In fact, be thankful for them to an extent, because they are your one opportunity to shine. When a knight is coming back from battle, they wouldn't describe all the easy victories they had. They would describe the hardest battles. That's what the best stories are. That's what gets you the most medals. That's what ultimately the differentiator between you and people who couldn't go through those challenges. I don't think people can ever become confident in their choices. What people can learn to do is live with their choices and let go. So one thing that I really try to help people reframe is this idea that when you make a choice, you had certain information you used to make that choice, certain inputs. You had some logic that you applied, and you have the outcome decision. Now, let's say you learned new information that shows you that that choice was not optimal. Should you regret the choice you made? My approach to this is, well, no, you made the best choice available with the information you have. The fact that now you have different information means nothing. It doesn't actually make the choice you made bad. The choice you made was still good, because the information you have now was not available to you back then. So I never feel sorry for any past mistake unless that mistake had nothing to do with information, it had everything to do with judgment. And even in that case, okay, that's your opportunity to grow and make sure you have better judgment for next time. But you cannot question your past choice based on information you didn't have at the time. The other thing where I see a lot of people really making what I think is one of the biggest errors you could make is that they look at feedback from the world, the result of their choices, and they apply that to themselves. They think that I made an error, therefore I'm stupid. I made a bad call, therefore I have bad judgment. They raise the information that the world gives them from the action level to the identity level. And when you're a child, that makes sense. You don't have any information about yourself yet. And so the feedback from the world maybe does tell you something about yourself. But if you're 25, 30, 40, you already have decades of information about yourself. Is this one moment, one piece of feedback that you got from the world really life-changing? to such an extent that you should change your opinion of yourself? Probably not. The information you had before is much more consequential. And so the idea that failure in something should affect your confidence is just bizarre. It makes no sense. Your confidence should have absolutely nothing to do with any feedback you're getting from the world right now, because you already have decades of information from before that. Unless you now have a full 2 decades of bad feedback from the world, well, if that happens, maybe you should change your opinion about yourself, right? But unless that happens, you should probably just separate those two things. And your understanding of your own abilities, your confidence in yourself, that's one category. The feedback you get from the world is another category. Given your level of confidence from your previous few decades, accept this feedback, figure out the best way to handle it and to improve for next time.